Hi, Mom.
What up, G?
Okay. Y'all know me. I'm Roseanne Rodriguez, and today I'm gonna be talking about California's failed economy. Okay, so imagine you work every day, you have a decent paying job, and at the end of the day, you go home, and all you have to go home to is a car full of your stuff, because cost of living has gone up so much you can't even afford a place to live anymore. That's because you do work. Okay. So we're going to talk about some of the things that has contributed to the downfall of California's economy, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is, or these are the stuff we'll talk about, heavy taxation, extreme government regulation, and the generous social programs, each one contributing a little bit to the problem. All right, we'll start with the heavy taxation. Right now in California, the cost of living is 40% higher than the rest of the nation, due to the high state taxes that the state imposes on its residents. So consider how much we pay here, about $700-800 a month for regular living. Well, for the same place, they're paying anywhere between $1,600 to $1,700 for that same little bitty apartment. And the jobs, minimum wage isn't very much higher, so cost of living is real high there. With the higher taxes, higher taxes are given to the wealthiest residents, but also to the middle class. So what they do is they tax the wealthy people, which we don't mind too much, right? Because most of us aren't that wealthy. But they also tax the middle class, which the middle class is probably the most taxed out of all the tax brackets. Poor people aren't taxed at all. The wealthiest, they usually find ways around it, and the middle class is the one who ends up getting screwed most of the time. All right. The property taxes are amongst the highest in the nation, and that's because the population in California is so big, so the demand for housing is really high. So they have to increase property taxes. Also, property taxes contribute to the overall state budget. So I'll talk later about how they use these taxes to pay for social programs for people who don't even work and stuff like that. Okay? All right. Let's see. Next, sorry, let's go back. What are the problems with taxing some of the wealthiest residents? Are the people who can't afford to move out of California are going to move out of California. So it's taken a large percent of the people who actually are paying a lot of the taxes. They're going to move to maybe Nevada or New Mexico, or even move there and claim residency so that they can get out of paying the higher taxes. So that also affects, since that's where most of the money comes from, that affects the overall amount of money that California has. I don't know if y'all saw in the news, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor, he threatened the state employees with minimum wage if the legislation didn't come up with a budget plan to pay for these social programs. So he's pretty much saying, I'm going to punish you who are working, pay you on minimum wage, which we saw it's cost of living is 40% higher, so they're already sucking. And we're going to lower your wages so that we can pay for social programs. I don't know. It just really doesn't make that much sense. They've even added an additional tax bracket so that they can raise everybody up for a year or two. They say it's temporary, but they'll raise it everybody into a bracket higher than what they were last year, and it'll let them charge more taxes to each individual taxpayer because of the budget. All right. Now we'll go on to government regulations. These are the three types of government regulations that are making California an unfriendly business environment. State-imposed environmental regulations, employment regulations, and strict licensing. State-imposed environment regulations, as we all know, California is a very liberal state. They're really concerned about emissions and stuff like that. So they end up taxing businesses. The ones that are hurt by that are the small businesses. They account for, 80% of the new businesses and employment since the 1980s. So if we tax them heavily, it's affecting their amount of profits. The less profits they have, the less people they're willing to hire. So in the overall, it affects the unemployment rate in the area. All right. There's some things. Just like we have here on Bragg, where the woodpecker, we can't go in certain areas. Where there they have the spotted owl. It's like the Endangered Species Act. The spotted owl, has caused a lot of logging firms in California to go out of business because they can't. There's too much protected area. So, all right. And employment regulations. Let's see. All right. Another government-imposed regulation is the Civil Rights Act. Civil Rights Act says, even if you're a small business, you still have to have a good proportion diversity. Well, if you're hiring people based on what kind of person they are instead of their productivity, it ends up lowering the morale of the overall company and the amount of capable people you have working for you. So that also hurts people. The strict licensing, that goes on everywhere. They limit the number of licenses they'll give to a certain kind of business. That's to eliminate competition. So pretty much, say there's 4 people in the room, we're going to say only one person can have a license in this because, Man Lulu would be the only one to license in something else. If you wanted to give him competition, you wouldn't be able to because the state wouldn't give you a license to run your business to eliminate competition for him. But that's not the kind of society we were raised on, right? It's always been a consumer competition. Competition between the businesses are important. Okay, sorry. Okay, now, important part, welfare and social programs. The welfare and social programs in California are some of the most generous benefits, which cause generations to be raised on government assistance, and the program is based on an award system, which overall just means people, if you give them a lot of money, don't give them any incentives, and you reward them for not working, it's just going to increase the amount of people who are going to be on the program, right? Yep. They have large grants, highest income cutoffs, and they even allow children, like if their parents aren't abiding by the rules, not working or anything like that, they're going to cut the parents off, but they're still going to give them money for their kids. So they're still providing them money whether they want to work or not. Now, we'll just take a look at California's heavy taxation, extreme government regulations, and extensive and generous welfare programs have all contributed to the economic instability that it faces today. Okay, so, right, I got most of my information from the Public Policy Institute of California. Right, thank you.